Hello everyone, another daily market review. Let's get right into it. Four stocks, a lot of things to cover. First on the list will be CRE, which was one of the top gappers on the list. And as always, we go to the daily, we mark the levels, and in this case, it was a level from a few months back or month or so back in 618, and the amount of volume was 23 millions. And as we can see during the pre-market, this level was respected as a support. Next thing that we're doing, we're marking the pre-market high where we do have 830, although this level right here also was interesting in 8-ish, so marking that level as well. And then fast forwarding to see what happened 11:30. So this is what we had, right? We can see that pre-market high was very greatly respected during the opening drive and during the whole morning pretty much. One thing again that one could do is take a short on the front side as we pull forward to pre-market high, as usually when it is a steep up move, we usually get rejected off of that pre-market high, although in some cases the rejection is very small and we just go right back up and break it out. However, this time it really pulled back nicely. But again, bounced off of this 618 level, which was a daily level, again acting as a support, and we started grinding forward back towards pre-market high, and we can see that something which is, I would say, prevalent among small caps in the past week or so, where you get a decent look in terms of chart and in terms of the movement, and we start working. We can see a lot of green volume that came in here. However, there's no follow through for a proper breakout. Even though this was an important level, it was touched a couple of times. We started making higher lows. However, it did not work, so I took a trade there and took a loss. But this is something that I still plan on taking, because this is a chart that I've seen was working in the past. Now I may reduce the risk because it is not as prevalent as it is in some markets, but still it is definitely a trade to keep on making. Okay, that's it, what I wanted to share about CRE. Again, it is if some things are to be taken out, it's that daily level got respected pretty nicely as support, and then pre-market high level was very tough to overcome and to potentially break. Right, next up, DAIC. So for DAIC, daily chart is a lot more important, and as we can see, this is 11:30, right? But these were the previous 2 days, and one thing that is most impressive is that a few days back, just last Friday, we were at 44 cents, and now in the pre-market we were right around almost $7, which is an insane move. All the metrics that are pointing out to overextensions were checked, and this was a play for a mean reversion. And then looking at the chart, it's not that you can blindly just get in and hope for the stock to revert, but you have to plan it out and make a setup, right? So this is actually a setup, and then you have to make a trade out of it. What is the place where it makes the most sense to get in? And in this case, I would say that this was the level where the breakdown of this level was the best idea for an entry, and we can see that there was a lot of follow through. At the open, this was a pre-market high, but then at the open, we made a small pop, but immediately was stuck back down, and it was pointing out to a lot of weakness. We fell below VWAP, and we started forming this small range, with this being low of the day. And the pops to VWAP got sold back down, and then on the pop back up, it was even more violently sold down, and on the breakdown right here, it was the time to enter. Now you could put a stop right here or at the high a day. Either way, you would get a 1-to-1 excuse me, 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, because this worked really well. And then this level was significant from before, which is where you can see we stopped with the down move. So a pretty nice trade, pretty nice scalp. And this is something that also repeats itself. So keep a look for um, these daily charts, because usually when you get an overextension like this, it has to mean revert. Now whether it will go straight back down, no one knows, but there is a probability, there is a higher probability that it can go back down. Now you could make an argument that that was the case for second day as well. So let's just take a quick look at the day before and see what are the setups. And you may be right, and this looked like it could be a mean reversion, for example, here, and one could make an interesting trade here. However, the further it gets away from this stable price, the more probable the mean reversion is. That's how it works. Either way, I'm still not consistently profitable. This is just my journey. I'm getting there slowly, but don't listen to my advice for actual trading. This is for educational purpose, for sharing my experience. I think it's important to note that. You can test all this. Every information that I share is rooted in my experience, but you can also see it in the markets and verify it. Right, moving on to the third stock, which was MSS. MSS was a great example of what I spoke about for pre-market high, where it acts as a resistance and you can short it on the front side. This was it. The most classic example. Now you can make it a scalp, because sometimes again it will consolidate here and break out, but you can hold it, and if you hold it, it can really work nicely. This was a 5-to-1 if you risk 10 cents, and for this type of movement there was no reason to risk more than 10 cents, so I took this trade, but I sold it at like right here as it climbed back above VWAP. It started looking really aggressively. I thought that it's not gonna keep pushing downwards, so it was a decent winner, but it was not fully capitalized on. But again, that's not something that you can expect every time. In hindsight, everything seems so clear, but when you're looking at it live, it's definitely not easy. Okay, so that's for MSS, pretty simple. And then the last one is XPON, where we had a couple of legs for breakouts, which was awesome. Looking at the daily, this was a significant level in 924.26, right? Where we had this sort of, you could call it day one, right? In this context, if this is a day three, it had a lot of volume, right? This was 86 million shares. That is the most significant level. And then when we look at it pre-market, I don't recall seeing this one on the watch list. However, as we opened, I think I got a alert somewhere around here, and I thought, hey, this is looking really nicely. The volume is increasing significantly and fast, and that was the way to enter. Now you can see, interesting, that this level was not perfectly respected this time. So this tells you everything you need to know about trading. Even though you see something 10 times, there may be 11th time where it's going to be totally different. So you need to be ready for that. You need to expect that. Even for the pre-market high front side shorts, sometimes it will just breeze right through it. You have to be ready for that. Not a single trade can work every single time. It's just impossible. Okay, so here I would say that there were a couple of pockets where you could make a trade. This one was definitely one of them. We had a couple of pops. We pulled back, but it was strongly rebid, and then we consolidated even more tight, and then the breakout right here worked. It was not a huge move, but still it was not something to neglect for sure. And that was a nice scalp, but then it was also an opportunity right here where this was the first time where we had a bit more of a consolidation, and I will zoom in to 10-second chart to show you more how it looked like. That was at around 9:45 or something. Let's take a look. Here it is. All right, so you can see from 10-second chart how important this level was. So no volume here, right? Almost no volume. So very small movement, and then this pop right here was pretty decent, and then from then on we got a lot of involvement. We can see that the average volume in this here area was pretty high. So what we can see is that we make a pop and then we don't reject it back, but we start consolidating, and then another small pop, we start even smaller consolidation. There is a sell-off on a lot of volume, so this can spook some buyers out. However, even though we dropped back down, it was a swing low, but it was higher than this one right here, and we rebid it even more strongly, and that was a pretty good sign. And then the last check in favor, I would say, is this extremely tight consolidation right here, and this candle. This is all the sentiment that that tells you how the participants are involved in it. There was a pop and it looked like it may go, but it was stopped down pretty hard. Now, if this is something which is now a total win for the sellers, it would probably go back down and then even break this level further down. However, we kept this level, we kept this 780 level, and we were strong there and started grinding even higher. And then at this point it was time to enter right here. Stop could be here, but more safe would be to have a stop right here. And then we exploded pretty much. I think we even went to a halt. So that was a pretty good opportunity, and that's how I read this movement. Okay, that's it for today. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you have any suggestions, if you think I should make more content like this, or some content which is different from this in any way, please let me know. I'd like to still share my journey. I'm still doing this analysis regardless of recording these videos, but if I can bring some value to fellow traders who are struggling, that is free, I'll be more than glad to do it. This is something that I have not seen when I started out, because most of the content was centered around the course, or production was pretty high. This is a low production, and it does not bring as much value because I'm not yet profitable, but it is something that I would have appreciated when I started out, to see a fellow struggling trader along the way before success, right? Because there's a lot of pitfalls. It's pretty hard. Okay, let me know, and see you in the next video.